Good day, learners. You are welcome to class this week. I remain your basic science teacher, Mrs. Jane Hokulu. So this week we are going to be learning another important topic, and our topic for this week says living things. Living things. As you can see on your screen, you can see a goat eating, you can see a giraffe, you can see elephant, you can see a fish jumping out of water, you can see the toad. So we want to talk about all these living things. At the end of this class, you should be able to describe living things. You should be able to give different characteristics of living things. Now, the question is, how can you tell that something is alive? How can you tell that something is a living thing? Let's go on. Here is how you can tell if something is actually a living thing. Humans, animals, and plants are all living things. Living things, they share common characteristics. Characteristics like breathing. All living things breathe. All living things grow. All living things reproduce. All living things respond to their surrounding. They respond to external stimuli. And they take in energy. And all living things also pass out waste in form of excreta. How do living things breathe? How do living things breathe? All living things breathe air. Now, animals, they breathe in oxygen. We humans, we breathe in oxygen and we breathe out what? Carbon dioxide. That's correct. We breathe in oxygen and we breathe out carbon dioxide. Consequently, the plants that breathe in carbon dioxide, they take in carbon dioxide and they breathe out what? Oxygen. Their own waste is useful to us for our own respiration, while our own waste is useful to them for their own respiration. Another characteristics of living organisms is the ability to grow. Wow. Living things grow. You can see the picture on your screen from a child. See, the girl is grown to a taller girl. See her here. See her, she's grown into an aunt. See her, she has gone to school. See her, she's already married. She has given birth to another baby. Look at her now, she's already old. So the ability of a living organism, one of the characteristics should be that the organism should be able to grow, to increase in their size. They can increase in shape, in appearance, and they have the ability to grow from this to this. So before you can say something is living organism, you should be able to grow. The third characteristic of living things is ability to reproduce. Reproduction means to produce young one like yourself. The ability to produce young one or young offspring that looks like you. So before you can say something is a living organism, it should be able to produce a young one like its own self. So the ability to do this is what we call reproduction. So all living things reproduce. Another characteristics is that living things move by themselves. So humans and animals can move from one place to another. So movement is the ability to go from one place to another. Plants can move, although their movement is quite slow. They move very slowly, and it may not be very obvious that they are moving, but they move. And they can move upward, downward, even sideways. So plants move just like animals also do. You can see the butterfly on your screen. You can see is moving itself. So the ability of living organisms to go from one place to another is what we call movement, and is one of the characteristics of living organisms. Another characteristic of living things is that living things respond to their environment. That's irritability, or you call it sensitivity. Living things respond to changes in their environment. So living things respond to what happens around them. They can respond to changes in heat, they respond to changes in light and even temperature. So the ability for this organism to respond quickly to the changes in their environment is what we call irritability or sensitivity. Another one is that living things take in energy. Living things take in energy. All living things get their food, their energy from food and water. And you know what supplies the food? The plants. The plants, they are the producer of the food. Now, humans and animals, they feed on plants or other animals. So plants make their own food using sunlight. You can see sunlight on your screen. They make use of this sunlight to produce their own food through the process called what? Photosynthesis. They use the process called photosynthesis to manufacture their own food, while the animals depend on the food that has been produced or manufactured by the plants for their own survival. So all living things take in energy either directly or indirectly. Lastly, living things excrete. Living things excrete. When we talk about excretion, excretion means the removal of waste products from our body. Waste products must not remain in your body. So the process by which you remove these waste products from your body is what we call excretion. And all living things excrete. So living things excrete or pass out waste from their bodies. Humans and animals excrete waste through their urine and their feces. Then plants excrete their own waste through their leaves and through their roots. Some of the waste plants remove is oil, resins, carbon dioxide, oxygen, water, just like man excretes urine and feces. The plant excretes carbon dioxide, they excrete water, they excrete resin, oil, and the likes. So before you can say something is a living organism or living thing, it must have the ability to remove all these waste products from their body. Here's a quick one for your understand to check your understanding. Now, what is a living thing? You have to tell me what living things are. What are the characteristics of living things? How do living things respond to their environments? How do you think living things respond to their environments? How do living things grow? Hmm. How do living things grow? And what do living things need to stay alive? What do you think living things need to stay alive? Thank you for listening. So, in case of any questions, you can direct all your questions to my mail at jane.okolo@greenland.org. I'll be there to answer all your questions. Until we meet in our next class, do have a wonderful day. Bye.